Hare Krishna Mataji, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's good, Prabhu. Nice and loud and clear.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Mataji.
Prabhu, I meant to say, if ever you want to share the screen yourself, because devotees are getting very learned at using Zoom now, please
Okay.
take control. I normally, when I jump on, I put share screen for everyone.
Okay.
But then if you want to do anything extra, devotees are using different resources now in class.
Sure, Mataji.
Just let me know and I'll make you whatever.
Sure, thank you, Mataji. I'll let you know. Thank you. Maybe next time, not today, Mataji.
Okay.
Om Gyantimirindasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshudunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manavadikam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagramatam Vitantam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Leta Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimad Swami Niti Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatadine. I'll start with Jaya Radha Mother. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari
Yashodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Vrajjana Ranjana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe.
Jaya
Jai
Radhe,
Radhe,
Jaya Radhe,
Radhe,
Jaya
Jai
Radhe,
Radhe,
Jaya
Jai
Shri
Shri
Radhe.
Radhe.
Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe.
Jaya
Jaya
Radhe,
Radhe,
Jaya
Jaya
Radhe,
Radhe,
Jaya
Jaya
Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe.
Radhe.
Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram.
Jaya
Jaya
Krishna
Krishna
Balaram,
Balaram,
Krishna
Krishna
Balaram, Krishna
Balaram, Krishna
Balaram, Jaya
Jaya
Krishna.
Krishna Balaram.
Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram.
Jaya
Jaya
Krishna
Krishna
Balaram, Jaya Krishna
Krishna
Balaram, Jaya
Jaya
Krishna Balaram,
Balaram,
Jaya Krishna
Krishna Balaram.
Balaram.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya
Jaya Jaya
Jaya
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya
Jaya
Prabhupada,
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 Jaya
Jaya
Prabhupada.
श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय
सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय।
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 ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नारायणं
नारायणं
नमस्कृत्य
नमस्कृत्य
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं
नरं
चैव
चैव नरोत्तमं
नरोत्तमम्
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं
देवीं सरस्वतीं
सरस्वतीं व्यासं
व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
ततो
जयमुदीरयेत्।
जयमुदीरयेत्।
शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण
शृण्वतां
शृण्वतां सवा कथा
स्वकथा
कृष्णा
कृष्णा
पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन
पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः
पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना
यदन्तस्थो हि भद्राणि
इदन्तोऽस्तु हि
इदन्तस्तो हि
भद्राणि
भद्राणि
विधुनोति सुरत्सताम्
विनोति
विघ्नोति
सुरक्षताम्
सुरक्षताम्
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु
भद्रेषु
भद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं
नित्यं भागवत
भगवत्सेवया
सेवया
भगवती उत्तमश्लोके
भगवति
भगवति
उत्तमश्लोके
उत्तमश्लोके
भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी।
भक्तिर्भवति
भक्तिर्भवति
नैष्टिकी
नैष्टिकी
नैष्टिकी।
Today, Canto 5, Chapter 1, the activities of Maharaj Priyavrat, and verse 20. So please repeat after me. Shri Shuka Uvacha
श्रीशुक उवाच
श्रीशुकवाच
Iti samabhito mahabhagavato
इति समभिहितो
समाभिहितो
महाभागवतो
भगवतो
Iti samabhito mahabhagavato
इति
इति
समभिहितो
समाभिहितो
महाभागवतो
महाभागवतो
Bhagavatas-tribhuvan gurura anusasanam atmano
भगवति
भगवते
त्रिभुवन
भुवनगुरुरनुशासनम्
गुरुरनुशासनात्मनो
आत्मनो
Bhagavatas-tribhuvan gurura anusasanam atmano
भगवति
भगवतस्त्री
गुरोरनुशासनात्मनो
भुवनगुरोरनुशासनम् आत्मनो
Lagutaya vanata shirodharo
लघुतया
लघुतयावनशिरोधरो
वनशिरोधरो
Lagutaya vanata shirodharo
लघुतया
लघुतयावनशिरोधरो
वनशिरोधरो
Badam iti sabahu manam uvaha
बाधाम्
बाधमिति
इति
सबहुमानमुवाह
सबहुमानमुवाह
Badam iti sabahu manam uvaha
बाणम् इति
बाधाम् इति
सबहुमानम् उवाह
सबहुमानमुवाह
Shri Shuka Uvacha
श्रीसुक
श्रीशुक उवाच
उवाच
Iti samabhito mahabhagavato
इति
इति समभिहितो
समाभिहितो
महाभागवतो
महाभागवतो
Bhagavatas-tri bhuvana gurur anusasanam atmano
भगवतस्त्रिभुवन
भगवतस्त्रिभुवन गुरुर् अनुशासनम् आत्मनो
अनुशासनात्मनो
Lagutaya vanata shirodharo
लघुतया वनतः शिरोधरो
लघुतयावनशिरोधरो
Badam iti sabahu manam uvaha
बाणम्
बाणम्
इति
इति
सबहुमानम् उवाह
सबहुमानमुवाह
Any Prabhu Mataji's want to sing?
श्रीसुख उवाच
Shri Shuka
श्रीसुकुवाच
च
Uvacha
इति संविहितो महाभागवतो भागवतस्
Iti
Iti
samabhito
samabhito
mahabhagavato
mahabhagavato
bhagavatas
Tribhuvan Gurur Anushasanam Atmano
Tribhuvana
Tribhuvana
Gurur
Guru
Anushasanam Atmano
Anusasanatmano
Labhutaya Vanata Shirodharo Bhadam
Laghutaya Vanata
Laghutaya
Shiro Dhario
Shirodharo
Bhadam
Taro
Iti Sabhumanam Uvaha
Iti
Iti Sabahumanam
Sabahumanam
Uvaha.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shri Shuka Uvacha
Shri
Shri
Shuka Uvacha
Sukha
Iti Samabhito Mahabhagavato Bhagavas
Iti
Samavito
Samavihito
Bhagavato
Mahabhagavato
Bhagavata
Bhagavatas
Tribhuvan Gurur Anushasanamatmano
Tribhuvana Gurur
Guru
Anusashanam
Anusasam
Atmano
Atmano
Laghutaya Vanata Shirodharo Badham
Laghutaya
Lagutaya
Vanata Shirodharo Badham
Varam
Iti Sabahumanam Uvaha.
Iti
Iti
Sabahumanam
Sabumanam
Uvaha
Uva Shri Sukha Uvacha
Shri
Shri Shuka
Shuka
Uvacha
Uvacha
Iti Samabhito Mahabhagavato Bhagavatas
Iti
Iti Samabhito
Samabhito
Mahabhagavato
Mahabhagavato Bhagavatas
Bhagavatas
Tribhuvana Gurur Anusanam Atmano
Tribhuvana
Tribhuvana
Gurur Anushasanam
Gururvanushasanam
Atmano
Atmano
Laghuyat Laghutayat Vannata Sirodharo Barham
Laghutaya
Laghutaya Vanata Shirodharo
Shirodharo
Badham
Iti Sabhumanam Uvaha
Iti
Iti
Sabahumanam
Sabahumanam
Uvaha.
Uvaha. Any Prabhu want to sing? Synonyms. Please repeat after me. Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Rishuka Uvacha.
Vacha
Shri Shukdev Goswami said,
Sri
Shri
Shukdev Goswami
Sukdev
said,
Goswami said
Iti,
Iti
Iti
thus,
Das
Das
Samabhitaha,
Samabhitaha,
Samabhitaha
completely instructed,
completely
completely
instructed.
instructed
Mahabhagavataha,
Mahabhagavataha,
Mahabhagavataha
the great devotee,
the
the
great
great
devotee.
devotee
Bhagavataha,
Bhagavataha
Bhagavataha,
of the most powerful Lord Brahma,
of the
of
most
the most
powerful Lord
powerful
Brahma.
Lord Brahma
Tribhuvana,
Tribhuvana,
Tribhuvana
of the three words,
of
of
the
the
three
three
words.
worlds
Guroho,
Guru,
Guru
the spiritual master,
the
the
spiritual
spiritual
master.
master
Anusashanam,
Anushasanam,
Anushasanam
the order,
the
the
order.
order
Atmana,
Atmanaha,
Atmana
of himself,
of
of
himself.
himself
Laghutaya,
Laghutaya,
Laghutaya
because of inferiority,
because of
because
because
of
inferiority.
inferiority
Avanata,
Avanat,
Avanata
bow down,
bow
bow
down.
down
Shirodhara,
Shirodharaha,
Shirodharaha
his head,
his
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 head.
head
head
Badham,
Badham,
Badham
yes sir,
yes
yes
sir.
sir
iti,
Iti,
Iti
Iti
thus,
das.
Das
Sabahumanam,
Sa
Sabahumanam,
Bahumanam
Bahumanam
with great respect,
with
with
great
great
respect.
respect
Uvaha,
Uvaha,
Uvaha
carried out.
carried
carried
out.
out
Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai
Jai.
Please repeat after me. Shri Shukdev Goswami continued.
Sri
Shri
Shukdev
Sukadeva
Goswami
Goswami
continued.
continued
After
After
thus being fully instructed
thus being
thus
fully
fully
instructed
instructed
by Lord Brahma,
by
by
Lord
Lord
Brahma,
Brahma,
who is
who
who
is
is
the spiritual master
the
The
spiritual
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 master
master
of the three worlds,
of
of
three
the three
worlds,
worlds,
Priyavrat,
Priyavrat,
his own position
his
his
own
own
position
being inferior,
being inferior,
inferior,
offered obeisances,
offered
offered
obeisances,
obeisances,
accepted the order,
accepted the
accepted the
order,
accepted the
order,
order,
and carried it out
and
and
carried
carried
it
it
out
out
carried it out.
with great respect.
with
with
great
great
respect.
respect.
Great respect.
Purport. By His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Priyavrat was the grandson of Lord Brahma. Therefore, according to social etiquette, his position was inferior. It is the duty of the inferior to carry out the order of the superior with great respect. Priyavrat therefore immediately said, "Yes, sir, I shall carry out your order." Priyavrat is described as a Mahabhagavat, a great devotee. The duty of a great devotee is to carry out the order of the spiritual master, or the spiritual master of the spiritual master in the Parampara system. As described in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 2, Evam Parampara Praptam. One has to receive the instructions of the Supreme Lord through the disciplic chain of spiritual masters. The devotee of the Lord always considers himself a servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. It's a very beautiful verse. Now I'll share some of my my thoughts here, and then questions, comments, suggestions, most welcome. So if I give some context here, Priyavrat is the son of Swayambhu Manu. Swayambhu Manu had two sons, King Uttanpad, who was the father of Dhruv Maharaj, and then Priyavrat. Priyavrat was the older son, but he, under the guidance of Narad Muni, he was absorbed in meditation, austerity. He had no desire for power, wealth, or to rule the material world. So the throne was passed to King Uttanpad. And then we have studied the lineage of King Uttanpad, Dhruv Maharaj. And now we are here to learn the lineage of King Priyavrat. And in that lineage, we will see in later chapters, Maharaj Rishabdev will come, and then Maharaj Bharat will come. So basically, Swayambhu Manu advised King Priyavrat to take the responsibility and rule the material world and protect the citizen. Now, as I said earlier, King Uttanpad lineage was there, under which Dhruv Maharaj appeared, and then Dhruv Maharaj lineage was there. Here, Swayambhu Manu again asked his elder son Priyavrat to take the responsibility. And to get more idea on what happened to Dhruv Maharaj's lineage, it might be the fact that the lineage of Dhruv Maharaj was not dominant, or maybe they've been to the other part of the world, and maybe they were the kings of the other part of the world, and then King Priyavrat was asked to be the emperor of the universe. But Priyavrat refused, because he was doing meditation, and basically he wanted to renounce, and he wanted to focus on Krishna under the guidance of sage Narad. And because Priyavrat was not ready to take over, as we have learned in the previous verses of this chapter, Lord Brahma descends. And then we have basically studied Lord Brahma's arrival, and because Lord Brahma is the basically Lord Brahma created the material world. So he is the firstborn in the material world, and then Lord Brahma created all the Prajapatis and the great sages, and Swayambhu Manu. So Lord Brahma is referred here as the grandfather of Priyavrat. Lord Brahma basically advised Priyavrat to take over and manage the affairs of the material world. Priyavrat was in a dilemma of basically his thought was continue on the renounced order of life, or to follow the order of his father and grandfather and assume the responsibility. So Lord Brahma advised Priyavrat that basically Lord Brahma said that this is the wish or plan of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Supreme Lord wants you to rule the material world. And then Priyavrat accepted that order, those words of Lord Brahma, and assumes the throne. Now, why Priyavrat accepted the order of Lord Brahma? That's very interesting to understand. Now, if we think of the material way, Lord Brahma, as I said earlier, is the grandfather of Priyavrat. So, as Srila Prabhupada advised, Lord Brahma, who created the material world, being the first entity in the material world if the Brahma's position is superior to Priyavrat's position. So based on that, Priyavrat has to accept Brahma's order. That's one thing. Second way of thinking is that Lord Brahma is the head of lineage. So Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, directly instructed Lord Brahma. Brahma teach those instructions, those knowledge that he received from Krishna to Narada. And then, as we have heard earlier, we read earlier, Priyavrat was following sage Narada. So Priyavrat was a disciple of sage Narada. So there is a parampara over here. There is a disciplic succession or disciplic chain over here where Krishna, then Lord Brahma, then sage Narad, and then Priyavrat. So here Srila Prabhupada also glorifies the system of parampara, the system of disciplic succession. As Srila Prabhupada advised over here, the duty of a great devotee is to carry out the order of the spiritual master or the spiritual master of the spiritual master in the parampara system. So parampara is disciplic chain, disciplic succession. So, Priyavrat Maharaj, King Priyavrat, basically, followed that parampara system. So these are the two ways of thinking why King Priyavrat accepted Brahma's order. And we have to understand one thing, that when a spiritual master or spiritual master advises or gives order, then there is always Supreme Lord's wish at the back. So, sometimes, a person might have, a thought of doing certain things one way. And, that person or that jiva is confused, perplexed. And the jiva goes to spiritual master for advice. And then spiritual master gives advice. Then a jiva needs to follow that advice. That's a basically underlying thought in this verse by Srila Prabhupada. Now there are personal preferences. Now in this case, for Maharaj Priyavrat, the personal preference was to continue on the path of renounced order of life, as advised by sage Narad, who was his spiritual master. But then there was another plan by Supreme Personality of Godhead. And to fulfill that plan, Lord Brahma personally came in front of Priyavrat and requested or advised Priyavrat, and Priyavrat accepted. So that's also basically glorification of the Supreme Master, and that's also the glorification of the disciple. Disciple accepted spiritual master's wish. Disciple basically moved away from personal preferences, and disciple was following the order to be part of a divine plan. There is one more point over here which Srila Prabhupada mentioned about Śrīmad-Bhāgavad Gita, chapter 4, text 2. Chapter 4. In Śrīmad-Bhāgavad Gita, chapter 4, text 2, Krishna basically advises Arjuna about the knowledge that was received through disciplic succession, but over time it became lost. So whenever the divine knowledge is lost, Krishna or Krishna's incarnations, basically descends and revives it. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that, I gave this knowledge to Vivaswan, who is a sun god. And from Vivaswan, it was passed over to Vivasvat Manu. But then somehow, Arjuna and that battle of Kurukshetra and Mahabharata was way behind. I mean, Vivasvat Manu was, I think, seventh Manu in current Brahma's day. And that's a very long calculation. But somehow the knowledge was lost. Knowledge about Supreme Personality of Godhead. Knowledge about the spiritual world and material world. Knowledge about the material mode of nature. The knowledge about, Varna and Ashrama. And Krishna explains that to Arjuna on the battle of Kurukshetra to guide Arjuna back to follow the order of Krishna. Arjuna was bewildered, and we know that how Krishna basically evaporated those black clouds in Arjuna's mind. So again, Krishna glorifies the parampara system, the disciplic succession. Krishna said that the knowledge was received through disciplic succession, it was lost, and I'm here to revive it again. And whenever it happens in future, I'll again come in one or the another form and revive it. But then the interesting point is received through disciplic succession. So the knowledge about Krishna, the knowledge about Supreme Personality of Godhead, the knowledge about renunciation, knowledge about as I said, the modes of material nature, the miseries of material world, and how to go back to Godhead, how to go back to spiritual world, that has to be received by a bona fide representative of Krishna in the parampara system. It can't be concocted. It has to follow through that parampara system. So, say for example, we follow Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya, right? Where Krishna, then Lord Brahma, then Sage Narad, then Madhavacharya, and then in that lineage, again Krishna appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So our lineage is Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya, right? And basically in our Sampradaya, we have got exalted scholars like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj and then Srila Prabhupada. And basically, we follow those exalted personalities, those spiritual masters and their words. And that's the true philosophy of receiving knowledge from the spiritual master. And that's sort of mentioned, that's basically mentioned by Krishna in that Bhagavad Gita, verse 2, chapter 4. The knowledge should be received through disciplic succession. But then, over the time, it became lost. And Krishna says that whenever it happens, I'll come and revive it. So that again basically glorifies the appearance of spiritual master and the importance of spiritual master in a jiva's life. If a jiva follows the instruction of spiritual master, the way Maharaj Priyavrata did, by following the instruction of Lord Brahma, who was his grandfather. At the same time, he was in that parampara system. He was the spiritual master of Maharaj Priyava's spiritual master, Narad Muni or Sage Narad. So Priyavat Maharaj followed the instruction of spiritual master and his grandfather. And we will see in the later verses of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, that was Lord's divine plan, where exalted personalities like Rishabdev and Bharat Maharaj appeared. So that also tells that, as I mentioned earlier, the instruction of spiritual master is for the benefit of a jiva. And that's the duty of a jiva, to follow the instruction of spiritual master. There's one more point. There is one more point mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. A devotee of the Lord always considers himself a servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. And that's very important to understand. When a jiva is part of parampara system, disciplic succession, and jiva follows the order of spiritual master, then the jiva has to be submissive to the order of spiritual master. Jiva has to accept and believe that the instructions of spiritual master is for the benefit of that jiva. And that can only be accepted by following submissively. If a jiva thinks that, oh, jiva has a false ego, or a jiva thinks something about himself, herself, then for the jiva, it would be very difficult to accept something from a sannyasi, something from a spiritual master, because there is an ego. So, and that basically starts a downfall of the jiva, because A, jiva has an ego, and B, jiva is not following the instructions of spiritual master, and that's a downfall. And that basically takes jiva into the journey of continuous journey of material world, birth, death, old age, disease. Guru, sadhu, and shastra, we have heard that so many times. And the beauty of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita is that those shastras basically glorifies Sri Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, glorifies the parampara system, glorifies the importance of spiritual master, gives the path of following the instructions of spiritual master, gives the path to go back to spiritual world. And for that, humility, submissive nature to spiritual master, following the order of spiritual master is very much essential. And that's basically described by Srila Prabhupada in the purport of this verse. With that, I stop here. Any questions, any comments, any suggestions, most welcome.
Hari Bol, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
That was such a good class. I really appreciated it. Thank you. Also, when you were talking, I made a deliberate experiment to listen through my Catholic ears. And I did that deliberately because I wanted to understand the truth that you're speaking on.
Sure.
And so I likened this Guru Parampara system to that of Catholicism. And then I tried to listen through my Catholic ears around this proper method of transmitting spiritual knowledge and instructions through this Guru Parampara system. But thinking about it in Catholic terms, I thought, oh yeah, that really fits, Prabhu. What you spoke on today really, really fits my Catholic ears, because I often talk to my brother, who's a practicing Catholic, and we have our spiritual supervision, if you like. We talk to each other about spiritual topics. And just the other day we were talking about, I was talking to him about this concept of being the servant of the servant, and how devotees, we refer to ourselves as the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant.
Yeah.
Anudas.
Yes.
Das Anudas.
That's Anudas. Yes.
Yeah. And my brother picked up on that in terms of Jesus, and in terms of Jesus preaching the gospel, and in terms of the Pope, who is the head of the Catholic Church. He considers himself to be the servant of the servant of the servant.
Excellent.
Full stop. So if I'm to look at that very basically, from a very basic lens, I'm on the same par as the Pope, because according to Catholicism, it is the Pope who must preach the gospel. He simply must. That's who he is, as being the servant of the servant of the servant. And I said to my brother, Jeff, how does that work? Because we consider ourselves the servant of the servant of the servant, and Lord Chaitanya says that we must preach. We must preach bhakti yoga. We must preach Krishna consciousness. That's a given. And he kind of said, oh yeah, well that makes sense. Then you must. And then I just, anyway, I know I'm getting a little bit carried away, but from your class today, it became very clear to me.
Thank you,
in my
Mataji.
Catholic role, I am a Pope. But here, in a Vaishnava role, I'm just the servant of the servant, a humble das.
Yes, Mataji.
But the role is the same, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yes, Mataji, that's correct. I guess, no, again, I'm not guessing here. Every religion, Hinduism or Christianity or Islam, I think there are certain fundamentalists who are concocting those religious belief, or the main crux of those religion for their benefit. But every religion tells one common thread, and that's common thread is follow the instruction of Supreme Lord. And spread peace, harmony, all these things. That's true. But then that only happens if the God consciousness is developed. Without God consciousness, this peace and harmony and love and all these things, it's very hard to nurture that. Fundamentalism can, it can uproot. It will not preserve. You need that God consciousness. And that comes when a person or a jiva thinks that God is supreme, God is vibhu, and then jiva is a small particle. And that God consciousness helps to develop that submissiveness towards God, and then the disciples of God, the spiritual masters. And that's there in all the religion. As I said, there are some fundamentalists who are concocting that belief, that thought process for their own benefit. But the underlying theme is same. God is supreme, and we are here to follow God's order. We are here to, to be submissive, to develop that God consciousness. And that's the way, we can achieve peace. And that's my thought, Mataji.
Awesome thought. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Any other comments, thoughts, suggestion?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you very much for such a wonderful class, especially, on this verse. And Prabhupada has mentioned even parampara praptam, such a beautiful verse, and Prabhupada has given beautiful lecture on this verse. How we need to understand that whatever comes from disciplic succession, so we need to follow that. We can't concoct. On the point which Yamuna said, I don't know much about Christianity, but what I had association with the, and I have heard, because my husband was very much, in Christianity philosophy earlier, when he was in, UK, and he had association with all those people, Christians, very good friends. We still have them, and what I understand that at some point, Jamuna can correct me if I'm wrong, that Jesus said that I'm giving you this, and what we understand that Jesus gave that knowledge to people at that time what they could understand, but he also mentioned that there is so much more to tell. So that so much of more to tell is what Lord Krishna is giving us in Bhagavad Gita. He has given us the detailed knowledge, and all those verses, he's giving us the Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita and all that. So Krishna is telling us all that and all this disciplic succession so much in detail. So that's what we are very fortunate that we have got Bhagavad Gita as it is. And Srila Prabhupada has given us so beautiful, the purports on those verses, that how we are meant to be following the disciplic succession, and starting, from Krishna itself, and then coming to Brahma. So all this knowledge is coming, and through our spiritual masters and Vaishnavas. So we are very fortunate that we have got the Bhagavad Gita itself. And of course, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya has described so well about the disciplic succession itself. So thank you very much, Prabhuji, and thank you very much, Yamuna, for bringing this. The thing is that whatever we follow, we have to follow it very nicely. We can't concoct ourselves. So there is nothing wrong with other religions. We have to respect everything.
Yes.
And that's why we can live in harmony, in not just saying that, that we are the best one.
Yes.
So we have lots of Christian friends, and they follow, and there is a good relationship with them. So we can't tell them mine is best, but they have to find it for themselves. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Nice thought. Thank you so much.
100% agree with you, Kadambini Mataji. Thank you so much. And thank you, Prabhu, for your class. You're exactly right. The reason I talk to my brother and the reason he talks to me is because we love each other, so we can hear each other without any ego or without trying to push our own, spiritual agendas. So I find my frank discussions with my brother very illuminating because I can find, when we use the word bona fide, I go and look at other religions and see what they're doing. And if everybody's doing it, that becomes bona fide for me personally, my personal interpretation. So, yeah, wonderful. Because I'm just comparing what I'm hearing, and I love it. The other thing I would add in Catholicism too, though, is they have a very narrow focus on service. They have their saints, Saint Francis of Assisi, who's also my family. Anyway, he's very much all about devotional service. So anyway, lots of comparisons and lots of differences, which are very important. And I really like hearing those differences too. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji. I think in our sampradaya, in our parampara system, there is tremendous emphasis on devotional service, because that helps to cultivate bhakti yoga, and through bhakti yoga we can achieve our end target, which is back to the spiritual world. So yeah, but thank you so much. Thanks for sharing the knowledge. Thank you so much. If no further
Hare Krishna,
comments,
Prabhu. Dandavat pranam.
yeah,
How
sorry,
are you?
Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu, for your very nice class. Just a thought, maybe you might have thought about it or think. See, as you mentioned, the information is coming down in the disciplic succession. But
Yes.
here we see that Narad Muni's instruction to Priyavrata and Brahma's instruction to Priyavrata are apparently contradictory.
Yes.
So if instruction is flowing down the thing, how do you reconcile?
Prabhu,
how do you reconcile the two instructions? I'll tell you my thought, maybe, and then you go. See, my thought is that instructions are not cast in stone. The instructions are based on time, place, circumstance. So when Narad Muni instructed Priyavrata at that time, yes, it's for the ultimate good. That is the highest instruction. But also the fact that at that point of time, Uttanapad was still there to take on the role of the king. And
emperor,
he was inclined to do it, and he was qualified to do it. So he was able to. Whereas now, when he is being asked to do this, at this point of time, he was the most qualified person to do it. And therefore, Brahma is instructing him to take on that job now and do it as a service to Krishna.
Yes.
So the reason I wanted to point out is a lot of time people try to make instructions as being cast in stone. Even Prabhupada's instructions, we cannot say this is the only thing or this is how it has to be. We have to tune it to time, place, circumstance. If that tuning is not there, then we can end up in having confrontations over instructions. Just my thoughts. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. I agree with your comments. Prabhu, no, as I said, I agree with your comments. My thought was, as you said, time, place, circumstances, and that's very much true. In this case, as we have learned, as you mentioned, King Priyavrata was the right person, but he was reluctant, and Lord Brahma came. And because Lord Brahma came, and because Lord Brahma was spiritual master of Narad Muni, King Priyavrata accepted Lord Brahma's advice as an order. And yeah, that's one thing. Second thing is, as you mentioned, Srila Prabhupada's advice, and again, that's my view. And honestly, I'm still taking baby steps in reading Srila Prabhupada's books. Whatever I have read so far, I haven't found any advice which is not relevant in current material context. Again, as I said, I'm still reading, and I'm still doing baby steps in that direction. But yes, Srila Prabhupada advice or whatever he has mentioned, I still find very much relevant in current context. Yeah, so that's my view, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. On the last point, I beg to differ. because Prabhupada again wrote based on his experiences and things. For example, when Prabhupada wrote, or Prabhupada, even though he wrote saying that women are always to be protected, Prabhupada's actions in terms of empowering them, allowing them to have positions and doing it are different. And if we say that we have to follow Prabhupada's thing, and this is exactly the problem that we have, for example, with the female Diksha Gurus. The problem that we have is we are trying to take some portion of that instruction and trying to impose that on what is current, or trying to impose that over everything else Prabhupada may have said and done. So we need to have this aspect of understanding things in time, place, circumstance concept as well. I'm not saying that every instruction need to be disregarded, but when instructions, when there are contrary instructions, we should be able to have the ability to hold the two concepts together and discriminate based on what is applicable now. A lot of times the problem arises because somebody is only willing to hold one concept and not willing to take the other and take it together. So this is the point, because Prabhupada very nicely said, he said about Krishna consciousness is to be performed with intelligence. It is not surrendering our intelligence and performing Krishna consciousness. So we need to use our intelligence in doing it. This is because devotees sometimes, yes, there is the concept that there is the instruction that is flowing from Lord Brahma. He is his spiritual master, because the spiritual master of the spiritual master is also your spiritual master. Yes, Priyavrata did it. But the reason that I would take why he did it was Brahma very clearly pointed out the service that you will do by taking on this is also part of devotional service. Don't think that this service is something apart from devotional service, and therefore by taking this on, that you are giving up your devotional service. No, that is the true thing. That's why I said it is apparent, because the instruction seems contradictory, but the instructions are not contradictory. The instructions are the same. The instruction to serve the Supreme is the same. How you do it, depending upon the time and place. When Narada Muni gave, that was perfect in that time and place. When Brahma gave, that was perfect in that time and space, because there was the need for somebody who was capable enough to take on that position. Just that's my point, because a lot of times people, what they do is, and this is the important thing, is to be able to take instructions, multiple instructions, and see the commonality between them and how to actually do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think you raised a very nice point, and I agree with your analysis about King Priyavrat taking on Lord Brahma's instructions. Agree on that. In terms of your first point about, as you mentioned, Srila Prabhupada's instructions about women empowerment and everything. Prabhu, I think that's a topic that
big topic, Prabhuji.
Yes, it's a big topic. So
yes, we can see that's so much of politics in the topic itself.
Mataji, it's not politics. It is the inability of people to reconcile Shastra with multiple instructions. That is my point that I'm making.
They don't think like that way, Prabhuji. They don't think. The people who don't
that is
want
the problem.
women.
That is the point that I'm making.
Yeah.
A lot of devotees take one side or the other because they just are able to take one position or opposition. See, that is why if you look at what the Sabha, which is supposed to be, or which is the general thing about people who are being very knowledgeable in the Shastra together, and they wrote it, they give both the opposing views, both views that are there, the instructions, and they nicely reconcile it. And that is what we need to have. That's all I'm saying. Again, we don't need to go to that. You just take anything else. See, when Prabhupada sometimes said people never went to the moon.
Prabhuji,
People went.
thank you very much for all what you are saying. I don't want to interrupt you, but I think the problem which we have is that we misinterpret everything what for our own benefit, and that's what is happening in. I don't want to get into that because, as I said, I'm not very much, aware of all those shastric injunctions, which I can say. So I'm not qualified for that. But what I can understand with this class itself is in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam itself, when Bali Maharaj did not follow the orders of his spiritual master, and because there was a higher purpose behind that. Higher purpose was to please the Lord, and that was he didn't worry about that even everything is taken away from him, and he didn't follow the instruction of his spiritual master at that time, because he said their high purpose was for the Lord, and that's what he did. So that's all I can say. Thank you very much for all those points. We know that, but I think I will just shut up myself. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Maharaji, for your comments, and thank you, Prabhu, for your nice comments. Appreciate that. I think it's a topic that needs a separate discussion, Prabhu. And yeah, there are different thoughts. I guess we can.
Sorry, Prabhu. My main point is not to take up the female Diksha Guru as a point of discussion. My main point about that is how we need to be able to reconcile different points of view.
I understood your point.
That is the main point here. We can take multiple instructions of Prabhupada in a similar way.
Yes.
And the point is to be taking different points and different instructions, and not only from one personality, even multiple personalities in the disciplic succession, and still be able to do it. That is where when we are able to do this, we get the ability to understand and absorb so much more than just by having one monologue of only one thing only. That's all is my point. Thank you.
Bro. Yeah, bro, I think the crux is that we do to time, place, circumstances, and that's that's true, Prabhu. There is no doubt about it. And the thing is that if you heard that tunde matir bhinna, so it's like there are various ways to concoct a thing, right? Because each person has its own way of interpretation. What we need is sort of a common thread or common ground. We have got left fraction, right fraction, and centrist fraction. Similarly, we need to find a common ground. And to find a common ground, I think sometimes best of both the worlds. That's a method that's being used. But yeah, Prabhu, I think it requires more deliberation on my side, which I don't have enough time today, Prabhu. So I'll beg your pardon on that, but I guess this is the right time to close the session, and definitely we can discuss further in the next sessions. But thank you so much for everyone to join. Thank you so much for these nice comments by Medhavi Prabhu, Kadambini Mataji, Jamna Mataji. I really appreciate that, and have a very good Krishna conscious day to everyone. Hare Krishna.
Jai. His Grace Ranchor Prabhu ki Jai.
Samvedana ki Jai. Vansikalpadurubhyasya kripa sindhubhyasya patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.